Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's leadership orientation with the Maryland Municipal League. I'm President James, happy and honored to serve as your president for the 2026 to 2027 year. I also want to thank you for stepping up and leading to help us have a stronger league. And so a part of that is just making sure we're starting from the same foundational principles, having a clear understanding of our roles and responsibilities so we can have a successful year together. So from that standpoint, again, I want to say thank you for taking the time to accept the various leadership positions and for your time volunteering because it's really what makes the league stronger. So with that, I will turn things back over to Paula Chase Hyman. Thank you.
Thank you, President James. Thank you for joining us today. For those of you who, excuse me, are new to this, this is a very informal session. This is so that we're all starting from the same page, the same starting line. You'll see some of our executive team on the side. A little bit of housekeeping. Yes, we are recording this. This is a meeting, not a webinar, but for the first part, as we go through this, if you could turn your cameras off, and then we're going to ask you to turn your cameras on so that it's an actual meeting of the minds. But for now, just so that people can see the screen and have less heads on the side, thank you very much. But I will ask you to turn them back on at some point. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get started. So, if you are joining us, it is because you are a committee chair or vice chair, or you are an executive member of one of our affiliates. That could be a caucus, it could be a department, it could be a chapter. And so you are here because you have now joined MML's leadership. Now, what you missed was a really fun icebreaker if you did not attend in person. And I'm really sorry because we had a good time. And trust and believe, I was trying to find a way to have you guys do it. What we did was we did the birthday icebreaker. And if any of you are familiar with that, it is where you ask everybody to get in order of their birth month and day without speaking at all. So we had a really good time with it. And the reason that I chose that icebreaker actually was because, hi, Frank, welcome.
Hi.
You can turn your camera off for now, but we're going to have you turn it back on eventually. Thank you. Um, the reason that we did that icebreaker was to start off in a more lighthearted way, but also it was a lesson in working together with very little instruction. They really only had one piece of instruction, and that was that they could not speak, right? And a lot of times when you join leadership in an organization like this, it's the same thing. You've agreed to do it, you're excited about doing it, and it's almost like, but what did I decide to do? What have I agreed to do? It's very little instruction. And so that icebreaker was a way of us working through that situation. And even though you are going to have questions and you're going to wonder kind of like, what did I sign up for? What does this connection with MML mean? At the end of the day, the fact that you are affiliated with us in some way or you have agreed to be a committee member, you don't have to do it on your own. The whole point of the partnership, the whole point of being affiliated with the league is that you do have guidance. You do have support from staff that helps you to mainstream operations for the group that you have agreed to work. So, who are we talking to today? As I said, we're talking to anyone who is a member of the leadership of one of our caucuses. We're talking to our chairs and vice chairs of our three standing committees. We're talking to members of MMA, who is our single constituency group at the time. And then we are talking to our 8 departments of professional staffers and our regional chapters, which are divided up primarily by county. So when we turn our cameras on, I actually want to give you all an opportunity to like introduce yourselves and just say like who you are and what you're representing, just so that you also get to know each other. So what's happening here? What's going on? These are our three standing committees. If you don't already know, most of you know that. Many of you may be in affiliate leadership. but have already served on a committee, or you might be currently serving on a committee now, almost as a representative for your group. We have worked very hard to try to make sure there's some synergy between committees and departments and chapters, because we want to make sure that the voices of the membership as they lead these different groups are coming together. These are our departments. Again, if you don't know this already and it's new to you, that's okay, but you are joining a set group of folks. Our departments are across eight different professions of a municipality. And these departments very much are meant to facilitate communication so that other municipal officials come in here and don't have to start from scratch. They don't have to recreate the wheel because they have other professionals that they can talk to. And as the executive team over that department, you all are essential in trying to help them understand what the league is. For our chapters, same thing, except for we are talking about regionalized areas. And for the most part, we are talking about our elected officials versus our staff. Although there are some staff who participate in the chapter leadership, we have found that a vast majority of those folks are elected officials. Our constituency group are the Maryland Mayors Association, and constituency groups run very differently from our chapters and our departments. They are actually run much more managed by the league staff, where their executive team is, sorry, I'm still admitting people, where their executive staff is guided by the league, wherein with our chapters and departments, we are still reinforcing that infrastructure to help you all run, because as some of you may know, we are the only league in the nation that has chapters. And so our ability to run those chapters based on the league's bylaws are very much in a phase of practice versus governance, and trying to bring those two areas together so that it is operated the way that the governance tools indicates that it's supposed to run. It's what we have been trying to reinforce over the last year. Our caucuses are still relatively new. I believe they are only in maybe their third or fourth year. Our caucuses mimic NLC's caucuses in terms of the actual caucuses that we offer. And they are at varying degrees of engagement at this point, as groups like this can be, because it is based on you joining this group because of this interest that you have in common or allies to that group. But the one thing that you all share in common is that you come under the umbrella of the league. And so what does that mean? So I mentioned that we are the only league that has chapters. We are not the only league that has departments, but the way that departments are run under other leagues is that it's run more like how we run our constituency group. It is that it is staff at the top helping to manage, helping to execute, and the volunteers are very much I would say maybe the legislative arm than they are the operations arm. And so that's how most departments are run. We are not running our departments like that. We do not have the staff to run our departments like that. So we appreciate your patience as we have attempted to align these things with what we have as staff bandwidth, what we have as our ability as staff to do it, in alignment with the governance tool. We're not making it up. We're using best practices from other leagues across the nation. We're using guidance from NLC, and we are relying on what's already been set in stone with the governance tool. And when I mention that, I am talking about the MML bylaws primarily, and then your bylaws, which have to be modeled more or less after what our bylaws say. So what exactly is happening here, and what is expected of you when you have joined the ranks of this affiliate or committee leadership? So for our committees right now, I am not so much focused on that area. Our committees, it's actually relatively simple. You work with a principal staff member, and you have already been introduced to that staff member. Many of you were previous committee members and already understand how it works. So we're just looking at you to shepherd the year and to shepherd the members through what is going to be asked of that committee once Mayor James comes to us with what her initiative is. We will make sure that some of the committees, not necessarily the LC, but that some of the committees are doing an initiative that aligns with what she's looking for. So I'm really talking to our departments and chapters right now in terms of what we are asking of you. As I indicated, we're asking for uniform values. That means that the bylaws of your affiliate must align with the leagues. All of the things that I'm talking about here are not new. This is not new within the last 2 years or the last 3 years. This has always been the case. And so again, having this meeting today is about having everybody to begin at the same starting line. So those uniform values do include, in some part, a model bylaw. We have worked on the chapter model bylaw. You will be provided with those bylaws. You will be provided with the new bylaws process. And yes, it is new because we were using the same practice as before, but we have realized that it has to change in order for it to work, more smoothly. And so you will be working directly with Felicia and myself when you submit a bylaw change from your entity. So it's a bunch of uniform values that we would like to see you follow. Streamlining operations. We are association professionals. Many of us have many years of that. And what you are doing is kind of running a mini association. And so that's probably not your expertise, and that's okay. We appreciate the volunteerism, but we're here to help you understand how to streamline operations because for a lot of you, that turnover is annual. And so just when someone's getting their sea legs, you guys are moving on to new membership. So we're there to help ease the transition. We're there to guide the transition. We're there to help give you best practices that, are being used across the nation in structures like yours. We're there to streamline it. You don't have to start over and go, how do we run this thing? We give you standardized protocols, same thing as with streamlining operations. We're there to provide the procedures because while many of these entities are very old and it's like, well, this is what we've always done and this is the purpose of our chapter. It does have to align with the purpose that our bylaws say that you exist. So that's why there are some things that over the last couple of years we've said, hey, chapters maybe can't do that, or departments may have to reconsider doing that, not because we want to hinder you, but because it has to be a standardized protocol so that these all run the same. Again, some of you are turning over every year. So there's no way to wholesale change something and then have somebody else come in and understand it unless you were starting from some type of foundation. And then there's the reporting and making sure that you are providing us the materials that we need to make sure that it's standardized, to make sure that it's a uniform value, etc. Now, I said this in the face-to-face meeting, and so I'm going to say it now. A lot of times, what's been happening as we're trying to implement and identify the structure is that we've had pushback because it's not how you were run before, or it's not how you were allowed to run before. And what I want to say is there are groups that exist outside of MML, but they're running because you have a shared commonality with somebody as far as that municipal link. You are free to do that. We have Tri-County Councils. We have the Lower Eastern Shore Mayors has a group. The Montgomery County Mayors has a group. The Black Mayors has a group. None of those groups are affiliated with MML, and they thrive because you are able to connect outside of the league. You would not be recognized as an affiliate. You would not be able to use MML's name, but you have every right to do that. And when doing that, there are less rules to follow. There are less protocols to follow. That's the difference. That's the starting line that we start at today, right? Where you understand that it is a choice of your affiliate to remain connected to the league, but that there are ways for you to do it beyond the league. We just ask that if that is what you are deciding to do, as an affiliate that we are told so that we understand, because we are allowed to have that entity. We are allowed to have people come together under that umbrella. And so that entity always remains with the league. You all as a group saying we'd rather not be affiliate is allowed and is different. Sorry, I can't always see my I can't always see my next slide. Okay. Going the wrong way, Paula. All right. So what we provide to you is access to our staff. Again, we are association professionals. Many of us have been doing this for many years. We have also, some of us have been on your side. We have staff who has been an elected official. We've had staff that have been municipal staff. And so coming together on this side, we do understand where you're coming from. And so you have access to a lot of that guidance. For our affiliates, we do that through our quarterly check-ins. The first quarterly check-in will likely be in early September this year. And there will be, last year we did provide a meeting just for the treasurers. We will do that again this year. Right now, Karen Wilbert, who is on the call, and we will open it up to questions later, and she'll be here for that. But we will do that. And right now, it is tentatively scheduled, I believe, for July 27th. So if you are a treasurer, please put that on your radar. If you are not, please pass that on to your treasurer so that they may, we found that very helpful last year. For our committee chairs and vice chairs, the way that you get guidance is you work directly with your principal staff person. Typically, they request that you have a meeting with them before your first meeting. They provide, sometimes they provide what we call a chair agenda, which has notes, things that you need to be aware of before you run the meeting. But it's access to that counsel that is number one on what we provide. And then there are just the typical things that we provide as a league, and that's the access to resources. You know, one of the things that we've tried to remind folks is that as a member, your ability to do these things, to be a part of this membership, a part of this leadership, is because your town is a member of MML. It is the town that is the member. So they are the primary member. It is your town that decides as a council or a legislative body, do we still want to be a member of the Maryland Municipal League? And so it is the town that gets to make those decisions. It is because your town has decided to be a member that you can do these things and that you can be affiliated. So your access to these resources is a direct connection to your league membership. Exposure and promotion, that's just us propping you guys up when it comes to like our conferences. There were certain sessions that were done by our departments, the attorneys, EMOD, and the clerks all submitted a session, and those sessions were selected. So it's that type of thing. It's making other people, both the elected officials and the staff, aware of what you bring to the league and the fact that you are able to put a lens on certain topics that are, like really relevant to your area. And so giving you that exposure, that connection to each other. Sometimes it'll be through a dispatch article. If you would like to, say something, you want to put a call out to other clerks and let them know, like our next meeting, those are the kind of things that can go into our dispatch and opportunities to convene. And that's definitely at our conferences, primarily at summer, because what we're finding at fall is we don't get enough critical mass. But, should you want to have a meeting there, you can always approach us. We are always open if we have the space to provide you those opportunities to get together as an organization. And so how do we get these things communicated and out there? Well, for those of you who are one of our affiliates, it is obviously the Dropbox link, the infamous Dropbox link. That link, and why we moved to that, is if you ever saw our emails, you would understand. Like, we get a lot of emails to the point where trying to collect data and reports it's just not the most efficient or effective way. So the Dropbox link is renewed every year. That is where, when we're requesting reports, rosters, treasurer's report, financial information, you put it there. Every single affiliate has their own folder in that link, in that Dropbox. and we're able to very easily go through it. And then you have a staff liaison who will reach out to you and say, hey, we don't have this. We collect this quarterly. We don't collect it monthly because we were approached about, we don't all meet every month, but we keep getting these reports saying that we're behind on it. We've always said, if you have had a meeting, we need this information. But now we've moved to quarterly, and that, makes it easy on all of us. As again, the quarterly check-ins are something that we provide to the departments and the chapters. It's typically the fourth Tuesday of each quarter, but this first one will be earlier, and I will send out that date very soon just so that it gets on your radar. We do not expect you to put the entire department or chapter on your shoulders and do this alone. It is multiple of you in leadership for a reason. We send out these things saying, hey, this is open to any and everybody on your leadership. We hope you can at least send a representative. What we want is for that to facilitate a discussion. I can't make it, but can somebody make it, to make sure that someone is bringing back that information or being able to talk to us and bring concerns to us directly. So please do attempt to make sure that you're working together as a group. We see a lot of burnout as it gets put on the president and everybody defers to the president. And, that's one way of doing it. But I also think that it kind of stalls communication, and it kind of increases miscommunication because it's like, well, the league said this and then nobody heard it. And then you get an email and you're just kind of wondering, why we can't get on the same page. But it's because you really should have representation at your check-ins, and you should stay in contact with your staff liaison, who we will meet when we turn on the cameras. And then finally, we have MD Community. This is a members only portal. We really wish that we would have a little bit more critical mass here, because it really is a space where you as an entity, like each of these groups has an area in the back end where you all can talk, where you all can upload data, where you can, have like a feed. And a lot of people don't use it. And it's fine. It's definitely a choice. I'm sure we all have a little bit of password fatigue, where we're tired of trying to remember how to get into everything. But it does serve a good purpose. It also serves a great purpose for crowdsourcing. Like when you ask a question, somebody else in another department or chapter might know. They might know the answer, and being on MD Community would really facilitate those kind of conversations. So as always, it is a resource. We will encourage you to use your space, but it is a volunteer it is a volunteer feature, and we're not forcing anybody to use it, but I do think that it really could help. So I actually am going to stop talking. I'm going to ask Teresa if she'd like to add anything, and then we're going to have everybody turn on their cameras and we'll get to any kind of questions or concerns that you all have.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to pass along my thank you for volunteering for more public service. We all know how busy you all are. We all have families, personal lives, other jobs, and we appreciate you volunteering for the league. Nothing more to add. Paula always covers this directly, and I know there's a lot of links that you're probably going to send out to folks as well. So thank you, everyone, for being here. We appreciate you.